I love listening to your music. You know, I've heard it many times, and every time it's like the universe is sort of sparkling around you.
Oh, well, thank you.
So true. So, Anna, how did you, first of all, how does it feel when you're playing? Do you have a feeling about it?
It feels, when I'm playing, it feels the same way as when a song is getting born, when I'm composing it, which is very open, like there's a lot of breathing room and a lot of very positive energy. It's a very joyful kind of a feeling. Even when it's, that was a kind of an upbeat song, but even when it's, you know, a very poignant, like this is difficult, my mother died, I didn't get to say what I need, there's still a feeling inside of me that's very spacious. Like, okay, when you hit the heart of something, there's a lot of room to breathe.
That's great. I imagine people who are watching are thinking, well, that's her gift. How would I know if I had mine?
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about how you found this gift that you had?
Yeah. I think the turning point for me, I come from a musical family, so we always used to sing in the car on road trips and stuff like that. But for me, one of the things that opened it out was falling in love. That when I met the man who is now my husband, something in me, a sort of a song kind of woke up inside of me. And I think that that's often true, that when we're in a situation, it doesn't have to be falling in love, but when we're in a situation where we discover a part of ourselves waking up in the presence of something. It could be a hobby that you really love, or maybe a new baby that's born. It doesn't have to be, you know, member of the opposite sex. But I think for a lot of us, and certainly for me, when you find yourself in a new place where you get to see yourself anew, a good version of yourself, that's a really ripe time for gifts to come forward.
And was there an event when you met your husband that, like, it was a particular day that you noticed, or something that happened that day?
I remember really vividly this one day. He used to be in construction, and I had just gone to visit him in the middle of this cornfield where he was building a barn, and so I was driving through this cornfield, and this song just popped into me. And it was really fun. It was like nobody was listening, so I just had the windows open and I was singing it as loud as you could sing. And it was just sort of like 3 lines of a song. And then the more I sang them, it sort of was like, oh, maybe there's a 4th line in there. And it was the first time I'd ever composed a song. It was just sort of like, you know, it welled up inside of me and it was ready to come out. And it was just a really incredible feeling, like, whoa, what is this? Okay, well, I'll get out of the way and let it come forward.
So it sounds like it was really effortless.
Yeah.
In many ways. So finding our gifts and talents is, I think, effortless.
I think that's one of the clues on the road, is if you're sort of like, something's popping forward, or suddenly it's like, oh, I don't know what this is, but it feels okay. I think I'll just lean into it. I think that's a good sign that you're on the path to getting a new gift born.
Well, I think doing this show is, I don't know if it's one of my gifts, but it feels effortless.
Well, that's good. That's a good sign right there.
Of course, a little nervousness, etc., but even so, it sort of feels like I was meant to be here. And similar to how you describe your music. It was meant to sort of come through.
Yeah, it's sort of like an ability to feel familiar in a setting that's brand new. You know, look, I'm doing this, I haven't done a lot of this, but here I am, and it feels fine, you know?
That's great. So did it take any courage for you along the way? Because you've done, you're out there and you're producing songs, and you've been up in front of large audiences doing them. And so talk about the courage piece.
So I did a program, a master's level program I have a master's degree in spiritual psychology. And as part of that program, which was an absolutely incredible, very life-altering experience, as part of that program at a place called the University of Santa Monica, that's where I went, one of the things that they had us do was, they said, we're going to help you identify a dream of yours that's so deeply buried and kind of protected inside of you that you'll know you're close to hitting it if you try to speak it and you almost have to say it as a whisper. Like if it's just so close to your heart and protected, and oh, this could never really come true. And so the one that I identified was, I want to create an album of music. But I mean, it's easy for me to say now because I have 5 of them out there. But at the time, it was almost crippling. It was like an hour of kind of shaking and sort of, I can't think I can say it out loud. I mean, that would be so preposterous. And if I say it, then I might have to do it. And you know, that whole thing. So I remember really vividly the moment that I was able to sit across from someone in this program and say, I want to make an album. And they said, well, try it again, you know, with a little more confidence. So I'd never had that experience of voicing something that I was so frightened to say almost, that I didn't quite know how to say it. And even saying it the first time, even in that wobbly way, something about it felt like, there, okay, I'm on my way.
Yeah, so there was the wobbliness, and then, this is what it's meant to be. Yeah. And so how about the courage? Does it take courage to be up in front of people now? Does it take courage to be on television? Does it take courage to produce an album?
It probably does, but I don't experience it as scary. I think it, maybe I would say it a little bit of a different way, like it requires me to dig deep into myself. But that used to take courage to do that, and now it's more like an honor and a privilege to take care of myself in that way. Like if I'm going to show up on a TV show, or if I'm going to make an album, or if I'm going to go into the studio, I don't want to waste anybody's time, mine or anyone else's, so I better be ready to show up from a place that feels pretty heartfelt and pretty real. And so it's less now about courage, although it certainly was in the beginning, and more about daring to show up real.
Yeah, and be all of who you are.
Be the fullest and most complete and most connected and present version of myself that I can be. And when you get a little practice at that, my experience is, it feels so good, I don't know why you would stop.
Yeah.